Researchers have just released a study that has sent shockwaves through the medical community, and if you are over 60, you need to hear about it right now. The study found that sitting for more than 8 hours a day increases your risk of death from all causes by up to 60%. That puts prolonged sitting in the same risk category as smoking. But here is the part that truly alarmed doctors. Unlike smoking, which millions of people have quit over the decades, the amount of time seniors spend sitting has actually increased dramatically, and it is getting worse every year. Think about your typical day for a moment. You wake up and sit down for breakfast. Then you sit in your favorite chair or on the couch to watch the morning news. You sit at the computer to check email or browse the internet. You sit for lunch. You sit to read, watch television, or do puzzles in the afternoon. You sit for dinner. And then you sit for another hour or two of television before going to bed. If you add it all up, many seniors are sitting for 10, 12, or even 14 hours a day. And every single one of those hours is taking a toll on your body in ways you cannot feel but that doctors can measure. Here is what makes this so insidious. You do not feel the damage happening. Unlike a broken bone or a chest pain that demands your attention, the harm caused by prolonged sitting is silent and cumulative. It builds up day after day, week after week, month after month, gradually weakening your muscles, stiffening your joints, slowing your circulation, disrupting your metabolism, and reshaping your body in ways that dramatically increase your risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, cancer, dementia, and premature death. And by the time the consequences become obvious, significant damage has already been done. My name is Dr. Michael Williams, and I am not going to sugarcoat this. The research on prolonged sitting and health outcomes in seniors is some of the most alarming data I have seen in my career. But I am also going to give you the good news, because there is very good news. The solution is remarkably simple, does not require going to a gym, and can start working in your favor from the very first day you implement it. In this video, I am going to explain exactly what happens inside your body for every hour you sit. I am going to reveal the 7 devastating effects that prolonged sitting has on seniors over 60. And I am going to give you a simple, practical plan that doctors say can reverse much of the damage, even if you have been sitting for most of the day for years. The 6th effect on this list is one that connects sitting directly to brain shrinkage and memory loss. And when I explain the mechanism, you will understand why neurologists are so concerned. So please stay with me through this entire video, because changing this one habit could be the single most impactful thing you do for your health. Let us start by understanding what happens inside your body during prolonged sitting. Within the first 30 minutes of sitting down, your metabolic rate drops significantly. Your body shifts into a low-energy state, burning about 1 calorie per minute, compared to 3 or more when standing or walking. Your muscles, particularly the large muscles in your legs and core, essentially go to sleep. They stop contracting, which means they stop helping push blood back toward your heart. Your blood begins to pool in your lower legs, moving more slowly and becoming more prone to clotting. The enzymes in your blood vessels that help break down fats decrease by about 90%, and the electrical activity in your leg muscles drops to nearly zero. After 1 hour of sitting, the situation intensifies. Blood flow to your brain decreases measurably. Your body's ability to process insulin drops by about 24%, which means glucose builds up in your blood instead of being used for energy. The pressure on the discs in your lower spine increases by 40% compared to standing, and the hip flexor muscles at the front of your hips begin to tighten, pulling your pelvis out of alignment and contributing to the postural changes that make walking more difficult and falls more likely. After 2 to 3 hours of continuous sitting, the effects become even more pronounced. Your good HDL cholesterol begins to drop. Inflammatory markers in your blood increase, and the endothelial cells that line your blood vessels, which play a critical role in regulating blood pressure and preventing clots, begin to function less effectively. Now let us look at the 7 specific health effects that make prolonged sitting so dangerous for seniors over 60. The first effect is accelerated cardiovascular disease. Your heart is a muscle, and like all muscles, it performs best when it is regularly stimulated. When you sit for extended periods, your heart rate drops to its lowest levels, blood flow slows throughout your body, and the demand on your cardiovascular system decreases to the bare minimum. Over time, this lack of cardiovascular stimulus leads to weakening of the heart muscle, stiffening of the arteries, and an increase in blood pressure. Studies have shown that seniors who sit for more than 10 hours a day have roughly twice the risk of a cardiovascular event compared to those who sit for fewer than 6 hours, even after accounting for other risk factors like diet and exercise. The second effect is insulin resistance and diabetes risk. Every time you sit for an extended period, your muscles stop taking up glucose from your blood because they are not working and do not need the fuel. This forces your pancreas to produce more insulin to manage the excess blood sugar, and over time your cells become less responsive to insulin, a condition called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is the precursor to type 2 diabetes, and it also promotes fat storage, particularly visceral fat around the organs. Research has shown that breaking up sitting time with just 2 to 3 minutes of light activity every 30 minutes can reduce post-meal blood sugar levels by 30% or more in seniors. The third effect is muscle wasting and weakness. When muscles are not used, they atrophy. For seniors who are already losing muscle mass through sarcopenia at a rate of about 3 to 8% per decade after 30, prolonged sitting accelerates this loss dramatically. The muscles most affected by sitting are the glutes, the quadriceps, and the core stabilizing muscles, which happen to be the exact muscles that are most important for balance, walking, and preventing falls. A senior who sits all day is essentially training their body to be weaker and less stable, increasing their fall risk with every passing week. The fourth effect involves your skeleton. Prolonged sitting contributes to bone density loss. Bones, like muscles, respond to the forces placed upon them. When you stand, walk, and move, the impact and muscle contraction stimulate your bones to maintain their density and strength. When you sit, those stimulating forces are absent, and bones gradually lose mineral content and become more fragile. For seniors who are already at increased risk of osteoporosis, the additional bone loss from prolonged sitting can push them past the threshold where fractures become a serious and frequent risk. The fifth effect involves your posture and your spine. Hours of sitting, especially in chairs that do not provide proper support, cause the muscles in your back and core to weaken while the muscles in the front of your hips tighten. This creates a postural imbalance where the pelvis tilts forward, the lower back curves excessively, the upper back rounds, and the head juts forward. This posture, sometimes called the sitting disease posture, puts enormous stress on the spine, compresses the discs, and contributes to chronic back pain that is epidemic among seniors. It also compresses the chest cavity, reducing lung capacity and making breathing shallower, which further reduces oxygen delivery to the brain and body. The sixth effect is the one I mentioned earlier, and it connects prolonged sitting directly to your brain. Research has shown that prolonged sedentary behavior is associated with reduced thickness of the medial temporal lobe, a brain region critical for memory formation. In simpler terms, sitting too much is associated with brain shrinkage in the area that controls memory. The mechanism involves multiple pathways. Reduced blood flow to the brain during sitting deprives brain cells of oxygen and nutrients. Increased insulin resistance from sitting impairs the brain's ability to use glucose for energy, and elevated inflammatory markers damage brain cells and the connections between them. A landmark study published in a leading medical journal followed thousands of seniors for over a decade and found that those who were most sedentary had the greatest rates of cognitive decline and the highest incidence of dementia. The researchers concluded that prolonged sitting may be as significant a risk factor for dementia as genetics. And the seventh effect is one that impacts quality of life in a deeply personal way. Prolonged sitting increases the risk of depression and anxiety in seniors. Physical inactivity reduces the production of endorphins, serotonin, and dopamine, which are the brain chemicals responsible for mood regulation, pleasure, and motivation. It also increases cortisol levels, promotes inflammation that affects brain chemistry, and reduces social interaction, all of which contribute to worsening mental health. Studies have consistently shown that seniors who are most sedentary report the highest rates of depression, loneliness, and overall dissatisfaction with life. Now here's the good news I promised you. The damage from sitting is not only preventable, but in many cases reversible, and the solution does not require heroic measures. It requires one simple principle: break up your sitting time. Research has shown that the most dangerous aspect of sitting is not just the total hours, but the length of uninterrupted sitting bouts. A senior who sits for 8 hours but gets up and moves for 3 to 5 minutes every 30 minutes has dramatically better health outcomes than a senior who sits for 8 hours straight, even if the total sitting time is the same. Here is a simple plan that doctors recommend. Set a timer on your phone or a kitchen timer for 30 minutes. Every time it goes off, stand up and move for 3 to 5 minutes. Walk around your home. Do some gentle stretches. March in place. Walk to the kitchen and back. Do a few standing calf raises or chair squats. It does not matter what you do as long as you are up and moving. In addition to breaking up sitting time, try to include at least 20 to 30 minutes of intentional walking or other light exercise each day. This can be broken into shorter segments if needed. Even 3 10-minute walks spread throughout the day provide significant benefits. Finally, look for opportunities to stand more during your daily routine. Stand while talking on the phone. Stand during television commercials. Consider a standing desk or a high table where you can work, read, or do puzzles while standing. Let me recap the 7 effects of prolonged sitting we covered. First, accelerated cardiovascular disease. Second, insulin resistance and increased diabetes risk. Third, muscle wasting and weakness. Fourth, bone density loss. Fifth, postural deterioration and chronic back pain. Sixth, brain shrinkage and increased dementia risk. And seventh, increased depression and anxiety. And let me restate the solution because it is so simple that it might seem too good to be true. Get up and move for 3 to 5 minutes every 30 minutes. That is it. That one change, practiced consistently, can dramatically reduce the health consequences of a sedentary lifestyle. If this video motivated you to get up from your chair, please subscribe to this channel. I share new videos every week dedicated to helping seniors understand the simple changes that produce the biggest health benefits. And if you know someone who spends most of their day sitting, please share this video with them today. It might be the push they need to start moving. I am Dr. Michael Williams. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Stand up, move around, and take care of yourselves.